What is going on, everybody? Welcome back with another video here. This is something that I hope you guys enjoy, and please do hit that like button down below if you do. Something that was really inspired by some comments, and I got to shout out Connor Lee, one of my patrons, with a huge suggestion to do this MVP tracker every week, almost an MVP power rankings. And this is an opportunity to put out some content here on Tuesday, because now I have kind of made the decision to do my power rankings on Mondays before Monday Night Football comes out. But on top of that, thanks to some suggestions from you guys in the comments, this will allow the opportunity to reflect a little bit on Monday Night Football and make those power rankings adjustments kind of after Monday Night Football. So shorter Tuesday video that I'm hoping to make a piece of the rotation. Again, please do hit that like button down below if you like this idea. But let's go ahead and get into my top 5 NFL MVP tracker that I'm really excited to introduce to the channel here. And I'm actually going to start at the top with number 1 and work backwards. And my number 1 MVP candidate is not going to be a surprise for those that follow me on Twitter, but if you don't, this is certainly going to be a surprise. At the top of the MVP tracker right now, I'm going to have Derek Carr, quarterback for the Raiders, who looks like a new man. And really my justification for this is he has had 3 game-changing performances that has led to his team being 3-0. If you put most quarterbacks the way they're playing on the Raiders, I don't think this team has 3 wins, certainly, let alone maybe 2. And yeah, he's just playing excellent football. And a little teaser here, he actually might make my first film room kind of narrative-based film breakdown here on the channel if I have time to get it this week, because he looks like a new man. And my criticism of Derek Carr has always been third down. He's a little kind of paranoid and timid as a passer. Not anymore. He's extending plays. He's pushing the ball downfield. He's using the athleticism and the arm talent that he has to the nth degree and making some huge game-changing plays in the biggest of moments under pressure, like with pass rush in his face. I have been just blown away with the version of Derek Carr that we're seeing right now. And I don't know if this sustains. I don't know if he is as good as some of the other guys that are going to be on this list. But right now, Derek Carr is my number 1 MVP candidate. Number 2 for me is going to be Matthew Stafford for the Los Angeles Rams. Now, we are going to factor in like who could actually win this award. And of course, winning matters if you want to win the MVP. Production matters if you want to win the MVP. But also narrative really matters. And for Matthew Stafford, he kind of has that voters' choice feel about him. The narrative was building coming into the season, and it has not disappointed. He has opened up the Rams offense in so many ways. The vertical passing game is much more explosive than it ever was with Jared Goff. He just has another level of arm talent that wasn't available to Jared Goff. Excuse me. But he's also extending plays, something we know Jared Goff has not done very well. But there's also an element of the structure of the offense and what he's able to bring from a mental point of view. You know, he is making more checks at the line of scrimmage than Jared Goff ever did. A lot of people liked to bring up how Sean McVay was always in Jared Goff's ear, and they tried to get up and snap the ball before the 15-second mark when that communication between the quarterback and the coach does get cut off. Well, that hasn't had to be the case with Matthew Stafford. He has a little more control at the line of scrimmage, and there was also a play that really comes to my mind that just is something they weren't able to do, and it happened last week against the Bucs, where it was a designed handoff. I think they were going to be running an outside zone of some sort, but Stafford noticed the angle that the cornerback, I think it was Carlos Davis. For some reason that doesn't sound right, but the corner for the Bucs, he just kind of looked like he was going to blitz, and he had that kind of chemistry with, it was either Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp, I can't remember, but just snaps the ball, and instead of handing the ball off right into that blitzing corner, because he did end up blitzing, he just kind of off his back foot just floated it out there, and they got a nice, 8+ yard completion. Just little stuff like that just has expanded this offense so much. So the trade worth it. Stafford killing it, definitely at the top of the MVP race now. Number 3 is going to be Tom Brady for me. recency bias. You might say, okay, he wasn't an MVP last week, but the first 2 weeks he may have been the front runner. I mean, he really had played perfect football, was lighting up the scoreboard. Now, he has a little bit more of like a dominant surrounding situation there with an offensive line that I think is in the top 5 in terms of pass protection grade, and of course, potentially one of the greatest receiving cores we've ever seen. So I think you can, with Tom Brady a little bit more, you can make that case of you can put a lot of quarterbacks in there and they're going to play at a very high level. But there's been plays that it's not just Brady using his great playmakers. Like his decision-making under pressure and ability to just, dissect different coverages, and you see all these split safety defenses nowadays trying to confuse these quarterbacks. And he knows so quickly what coverage he's getting and where that hole is going to be. And there's a reason some of those pass protection grades are so much higher for the Bucs offensive line, because he protects his O-line, not by running around and avoiding sacks, but by not just getting rid of the ball, like in the short game, but knowing where he needs to put the ball in the holes in the zones, and just having such a great understanding of how his routes are going to develop from his receivers. So yes, he's got a great surrounding situation around him, but he is throwing the ball with velocity, accuracy, anticipation. He's taking care of the ball. He looks incredible, and I would not put the loss against the Rams on him. It wasn't his best game of the 3, certainly, but he is playing really good football. Number 4 is going to be Kyler Murray. And on the podcast last week, I said Kyler Murray is a MVP frontrunner. The turnovers are becoming a knock on his game. He has thrown some really questionable interceptions in all 3 games, and those have all been interceptions that have kind of kept the game potentially a little closer than it should have been, but inversely, they wouldn't be ahead without what Kyler Murray is doing. You know what I mean? So like he's getting his team ahead, he's making all these incredible plays, and perhaps, if you get 4 or 5 incredible plays like he is making, I still believe that some of the play extension and sack illusion and throws that he's been able to make off platform, if you're getting those 4 or 5 times a game or whatever that rate may be, you'll take that bad interception when he's trying to do some of that stuff. So it is a little bit of a give and take with Kyler Murray, but you can absolutely say, by the argument of most valuable player, you take Kyler Murray off of that Cardinals team, they're probably a 1-2 football team. I don't know if they come back and beat the Jags. Depends who their quarterback would have been, I guess. But they certainly wouldn't have beaten the Vikings without Kyler Murray. So he's making just some incredible plays, putting the team on his back type of stuff. And what he brings as a runner as well opens up that running game so much. So Kyler Murray is 4th. And then we're going to have a non-quarterback for my 5th MVP candidate, Myles Garrett. I don't know how long he'll be able to sustain as a top 5 MVP, but man, he has had 2 game-wrecking performances. He single-handedly shut down the Bears offense. Now, it's tough to get into this MVP conversation as a defensive player, but the Bears had, was it 1 or -1 net passing yards because of 4.5 sacks from Myles Garrett? And, the Bears' tackle situation isn't great, but he was dominant in the Chiefs game as well. And honestly, I don't even have much to take away from him in his second game. But, man, he has had 2 game-wrecking performances, and that's what you're looking for from an MVP candidate. So I think his dominance on the defensive side of the ball, at least at this point in week 3, warrants a mention in the MVP tracker. Like, if he keeps playing like this, you're going to be looking at a 24, 25 sack season, one of the best, most productive pass rush seasons we've ever seen, especially in this modern era. So that's certainly worth an MVP note. So there are my top 5 MVP tracking players, I suppose. And then I do want to talk about Monday Night Football. I did say in the power rankings yesterday that I fully expected Dallas to take care of business. But what I will say is that Dallas's defense has really stunned me. I figured it'd be better with Dan Quinn just because how could it not be? It was so bad last year. But it's been really night and day. Like, all of the really optimistic Cowboys fans are looking right now in that pretty much everything has improved here. The pass rush has improved, and that's been with DeMarcus Lawrence out. Like, that's only going to get better when he comes back because he had a great first week and looked healthy at the time. We'll see if that sustains. But Micah Parsons getting involved as a pass rusher, finding an Osa Odigizua to be a not just like decent contributor, he was everywhere against the Eagles. So the pass rush looking better. We kind of knew the linebackers would be good. That hasn't really changed. But then in the secondary, getting Trayvon Diggs to play like he's playing, I can't even begin to describe how big that is for the Cowboys, because that was looking like probably the worst secondary in the NFL. And Trayvon Diggs, has he been the best corner in the NFL through the first 3 weeks? I definitely wouldn't say he is the best corner, but it's hard to argue against what he is doing out there. So that's been huge. The defense stepping up. I knew this Cowboys offense was going to roll. I didn't think Dak would really miss a beat coming back, and we know what these receivers can do. But the defense looking as good as they have, it's going to boost the Dallas Cowboys. +3, jumping Seattle, San Francisco, and Tennessee here, getting into the top 10. So Cowboys fans who were upset at their ranking yesterday are going to get some respect here. And then as for the Eagles, I'm going to leave them at 26. I don't think they're worse than the Falcons, who they just beat a couple weeks ago. But I will say the Brandon Graham injury is big for that defense. It was apparent. Like, their pass rush wasn't terrible, but Brandon Graham is an underrated pocket. Like, he just constantly pushes the pocket and generates pressure and makes things tough on the quarterback. So that's a hit to their defense, just as we saw the other night. And Jalen Hurts, he looked good week 1, but man, there's just not a lot of structure there. The ESPN, I was kind of glad to see the ESPN commentary point out like something that commentaries don't always do, and it's just like he doesn't take what's there. He is such a he loves to extend plays and play some of that hero ball, and sometimes it works, but you are leaving a lot of meat on the bone on plays when he starts breaking the pocket too early and really not getting through those progressions. He's shown flashes to do that. He just needs to do that more, and he's got to start doing it very quickly, because if this team loses games, they have an extra 2 first-round picks. Maybe, we'll see if they get the Colts first rounder or not, but the Eagles are certainly going to be in the market for a quarterback if Jalen Hurts keeps playing like this. So I think the Eagles kind of staying put at 26, but the Cowboys, a very impressive performance on Monday Night Football. And that's it. That's what this video is going to be. I hope you guys enjoy just kind of getting something on Tuesday. It's a fun little video for me to make for sure. So please do hit that like button. I hope you enjoyed. And we'll be back tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern time right here on YouTube and on your audio platforms for the Fully Inflated Football podcast, where I will break down every game from week 3. And I'm excited for that. We'll see you there. But peace.